Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top-quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. It's Audley Stevenson back for another edition of the most audacious podcast on the web. That's right, this is the Audacious Living Podcast, and it's a pleasure as always to be here as we continue our goal of helping you live your best audacious life ever. Our social media channels are just one of the great ways you can connect with us, and I'd encourage you to follow, like, and share. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and get instant notifications whenever we put out new content. So hey, get connected and be up to speed with all things in the world of the Audacious Living Podcast. Now, we're going to talk on this episode about the idea of betting on ourselves. It's one of those idioms that we hear an awful lot, but the question is, what does it really mean? Well, if you go to the racetrack or go to the casinos or go to Vegas, whenever we're allowed to do that again, and you place a bet, you're taking a chance. And that hope is that the outcome will be a favorable one. Now, when you're entering into a new or unfamiliar situation, you're also taking a bit of a chance, and you're doing so with this belief that what you're after, what you're looking for, that you'll be able to accomplish, whatever that might be. You're believing in that all the things about you are right, and again, you're taking a chance. You're believing in your potential. You're believing in your dreams. You're believing in the fact that you bring a whole lot to the table, and you're believing in you. Now, the most important thing in all this when you're betting on yourself is not letting fears, uncertainties, doubts, suspicions tell you that you can't achieve it. By all means, you can go after what you're looking for. We've got Chris Matthews on the podcast this week, and really excited because he's a guy that knows a whole lot about betting on yourself. Now, if you don't recognize the name, that's okay, because you may be familiar with his moniker that he goes by. He's a lethal shooter. I use that on social media, and he absolutely is a lethal shooter. Chris actually he's a former professional basketball player who transitioned from playing to becoming an outstanding NBA shooting coach. He works with the top of the top, some of the best out there. I first met Chris back when he was playing in NBL Canada, which is of course the league that I happen to be the commissioner of, and I had an opportunity to witness him firsthand, see what he can do. His shooting skills were bar none. So I know how good he is. But as things go, his playing career came to an end. And that's just the case for any professional athlete. And Chris got to the point where he had to make some choices about what to do next and think about his future. And it's at that point he made the decision to bet on himself. And he did that and became a successful shooting coach. In fact, he was so successful at that, now everybody wants to learn from this guy. We're talking about NBA players, WNBA players, even some guy named Drake is booking time with them. Like I said, it was really, really awesome to catch up with him, and I think you're going to really, really enjoy his story. So without any further ado, this is where I'm going to stop talking and give you an opportunity to hear from Chris directly. Enjoy. Chris Matthews goes by the nickname The Lethal Shooter, and with good reason. He's hands down the most sought-after shooting coach in the world. Chris has had the privilege of working with numerous celebrities, NBA and WNBA athletes, helping them to perfect their shot. Prior to becoming a professional shooting coach, Chris played basketball internationally in Russia, China, and spent 3 seasons in NBL Canada. He shares his incredible journey, lessons learned, and talks about the significance in betting on yourself on the next edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. But I appreciate you coming on and doing this. When I started this platform, I was very much wanting to tap into that boldness that exists in all of us. We all have that inner greatness to go out and do the things that, we're meant to do. And I mean, Chris, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. If you don't know that, I'm telling you that I've watched for a long time. Even back when you were playing in NBL Canada. In fact, the very last time I remember chatting with you is you were on the bench in Windsor, and you were hurt at that time, and you weren't playing, and you were just like, I'm gonna get out there. And that was the last time I actually saw you. So it's really kind of nice to see as time goes on. You're like, look, you transition and doing good stuff for yourself. So really, I'm really glad you could do this, man. I'm really proud of you, man. Really proud of you.
Man, thank you, man. It means a lot coming from you.
Well, I appreciate you, man. So let's kind of go back, if you will, because you. I mean, first off, the moniker, the lethal shooter, hasn't left you, right?
Nah.
I remember we had a conversation with that years ago, and you still got it. So that obviously, you put a lot of time in your craft to get you where you are. Talk about your transition from being a player, right? Because you were a professional basketball player to now you're a world-renowned shooting coach.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know I actually can play basketball. So you're definitely one of those people because at the time, you were working NBL Canada, flying to all the games, seeing what was going on. So it wasn't an easy transition. And I tell a lot of people, you got to stay consistent after the transition because, you're kind of in limbo to figure out what you want from your life, So, after playing basketball, like I tell people, I became a teacher. I was trained at a gym where I had to be the custodian as well.
Wow.
Like I was working at a recreational center. Like I was doing so many things to kind of figure out like what do I want to do with my life?
Right. And
then that's when I started taking that transition of being a shooting coach. And I was already doing it when I was working as a trainer, but it wasn't, as fun because, I had to basically, it's nothing wrong with working all day, but I was working from like 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
So I was like, man, I'm ready to quit all this. Like, I just don't know what to do. And then, I said, I'm going to stop this and I'm just going to jump right into pro. Like if it doesn't work, I don't care. So that's what I did. I jumped right into the ball game when a lot of people were telling me, start small. And I'm like, why do I need to start small if I did this my whole life? Like I've been shooting my whole life. Why do I need to start small? And then that's when I jumped out there and it's no looking back, man. So like, never listen to people when they say, start really small. If your mind sees something, man, go after it.
So, and what's so amazing for me, Chris, is when I think about you, in my mind, from going from playing to a shooter, a shooting coach, is a natural transition. Like, it's almost like, what were you thinking about? Like, what took you so long? Like, I mean, like, what else would you do? You were a great shooter, so why not transition? Like, why was the obstacle there for you initially?
Well, when you finish as a professional athlete or anything you do, you have to go into the field. Like there's other people that's already in that field that's been consistent before you because you were playing basketball or doing something else when you started to take that transition. So just like in anything in life, it doesn't just happen overnight. You got to show your work. You got to work with a few guys for 2 years, maybe 3 years to show like, wow, he took this percentage here, he took that percentage there.
Right.
And by doing that, that's how I became, the shooting coach that I am today through almost 5 years of consistently being a shooting coach. And I think a lot of people as pros, like, I'm just going to jump into it. I'm just going to be a trainer. And it doesn't work that way. It takes so much consistency to be a trainer because people want to see results. And once you start showing results and you start, changing people's shooting percentages, that's when people start saying, okay, this guy's stuff works.
There's an expression that I hear a lot, especially I kind of resurface. It's not a new one we've heard before, but the whole concept of betting on yourself.
Yeah.
And to me, that's exactly what you did. Can you sort of talk about that thought process of I'm gonna go all in and go big on myself?
Yeah, I just got to the point that I was like, I'm not going to fail. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have any money at all. A lot of people that know at the time I was actually living with a roommate before I was like homeless, living with my uncle today. He was just, it was a great transition. He was just like, hey, you're a little comfortable, you need to figure it out. You know what I mean? So I found a roommate off Craigslist, if anybody know what that is.
Yeah.
And the rent was like super dirt cheap, but unfortunately, like I couldn't use like the living room. I couldn't use so it's like I had to go to my room and go to the bathroom, take a shower, and go out. And that's when I was training in Montgomery County. And then I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I've done all this stuff my whole life. Like, I need to just take a risk. Like, I need to take a huge risk. And that's what I did myself. Like, I just said, like, don't quit without a plan. I had a strategic plan that I came up with. Like, there's strategic college players, strategic NBA players that I was reaching out to. Like, hey, man, I'll train for free for 2 years if I have to. I just want to show you how good my work is. You know what I mean? And I took that bet. And one of the biggest obstacles that I took was Dwight Howard. Like, you know, he definitely said, all right, you know, let's see what it is. Like, I've hired everybody to help me with my free throws. Like, let's see if it works, it works. If it doesn't matter, because, you know, he wasn't making free throws at the time. Right. And it was a blessing because at the time I was working with him, you know, it was the highest free throw percentage of his career. I haven't worked out with him in 3 years since then, but he's one of my best friends to this day because of the work that we did before, because I had to continue to move on. But it's just a blessing. And like you said, like in life, if you see a vision for yourself, why not bet on yourself? Because, you know, the more, unfortunately, people don't understand this, but the more that you actually lose, the more you win because you learn. Mm-hmm. So all the times that I failed in life, I use those as obstacles to continue to move forward because I didn't go back and lose the same way. So if you continue to lose the same way over and over and over, unfortunately, that's your fault because you're not learning from your mistake. So that's what I did. And that's what I'm still doing to this day. You know what I mean? I'm still learning from my mistakes, and that's how I keep winning every single day so I can continue to move forward in life.
I love it. I love all of it, but particularly that piece around the lessons learned, right? Like, yeah, you're doing that same thing over and over and over again, and the same end result means that you haven't paid attention to the lesson. Yeah. You haven't focused on what was going on, and that's why the same mistakes are happening continuously. And I think like a lot of people, right, that's what we run into is like, oh, this again. But you're not stopping and examining, if I did this, then this would be right? Right.
Man. Right. I agree.
Man. So was Dwight the sort of the breakthrough moment? Like, I guess there's different points where you could say, yeah, this is where I got my breakthrough. Was it Dwight or was it somewhere else? Or
there's a transition actually when I was still in that process. One of my friends, Kevin Seraphin, at the time he was playing for the Wizards. So I was still in that, am I going to play pro? Am I going to still? So I would just be hooping with him. You know what I mean? And when we were hooping, it was small stuff. I'll just stop him. Like, I know we're playing, but hey, do this and do that. And he started doing this stuff, and we started seeing that it was changes in his shot. So one day we were sitting on the couch, and I'm just like, man, I don't know what the H I'm going to do with my life. And he's like, bro, teach people how to shoot. Like, teach the elite. Like, stop doing what you're doing right now. Teach the elite how to shoot the basketball. He was like, I believe in you. I'm going to let you move with me to Paris. So I moved with him in the summertime to Paris, what a lot of people don't know. And it was just, I mean, for him to take me under his wing at that time was just a blessing. And that's when I got the call from Dwight. Once people started seeing what Kevin Seraphin was doing, I got multiple calls from different NBA teams. That's when I started becoming a contractor for NBA teams, and which I do to this day. And it's just a blessing, man. And Kevin Seraphin really took that risk by letting me, you know, move to Paris, rent-free, food-free, just basically letting me move in my purpose, man. It was a blessing.
You know, the piece that's so amazing about that, and you sort of talk about Kevin's influence and how he helped you. I mean, sometimes, you know, that's all we need, that one person, that one spark to say, yeah, I see this in you. Let's make this and help this grow. And it sounds like that's exactly what Kevin did for you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did for me. And sometimes he would explain to me what he saw in me, which, you know, sometimes when you're chasing something so much, you don't see it in yourself. So Kevin would take the time to say, bro, I've never had a shooting coach do this before. This is how I know you're the best. Or you just pointed this out and nobody's ever sold this before. And this is the issue that I had. And it would just give me so much more confidence on top of the confidence that I had before. Like, look, I'm ready to be the best shooting coach in the world, man. I'm ready to take over. And then when these opportunities happened, he was such a good friend. You know, I was like, yo, blah, blah, blah. This happened. He said, look, I love you so much. That opportunity is kind of bigger than where you're at right now. You go ahead to that opportunity, bro. He was like, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be your friend. He was like, go ahead and move on. And I was like, man, that's a real friend. And you know, I did that. And it was just a blessing. It's a blessing to have him as a friend.
Yeah. I guess he's on your Christmas card list. He doesn't come
Yeah,
off.
man, great guy.
That's awesome. The confidence piece is also something, Chris, that's really, really important. And so when you even talk about how Kevin influenced you and kept you going, because there are times there's dips and valleys, right? Where there's times you're kind of down on yourself. What other things did you do to kind of keep yourself going?
Honestly, like I would just take the time to like walk, clear my mind, read. I watch like old videos. Like, don't be too much on yourself, but like I watch old videos of myself. I might go back and watch NBL Canada videos, or I might go back and watch videos playing in Russia just to keep that motivation going. Go back and listen to mentors that are saying positive things in my mind. Nothing against anybody that does it. Like, I didn't lead to like drugs or alcohol, the things that comfort us and stuff like that. So I was just trying to do as much positive things as possible so I can have my mind clear. So when the time came, I can accomplish my goal, because sometimes in life, if that goal comes and you're not ready, you'll lose it. And that's like, dang, I just worked 20 years. I had an opportunity to train somebody and I did it the wrong way, and that person doesn't keep me. So I'll be right back to square one. So when that opportunity came to like train Kevin and train Dwight and train Candace Parker and Skylar Diggins and et cetera, I'm always ready, because I look back like I don't want to go back to where I was. And when I was in that place, I was always prepared to move forward where I wanted to be. Got
you. As the opportunities started to come one after the next, was it a bit overwhelming? Like I'd imagine it's just a windfall and you're just getting, they're just coming at you. What was that like, man?
Well, I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, because in life, like I was saying, when you're prepared for your blessings, nothing's very overwhelming if you're organized. There was a time in my life when stuff was coming in and certain stuff wasn't organized, and it would just take a toll on me not getting rest. And the more that I learned how to organize my life, it became much more easier. I wouldn't say overwhelming to the point that it's like, oh, I can't handle this. You know what I mean? Because I was born for this. I was born my whole life and I was molded to be a shooting coach. I always thought my whole life, I'm chasing this goal. Like, I'm gonna be the best NBA player. I'm gonna be the best pro in my life, but I'm actually the best coach that I can be. I'm actually the best father, the best husband that I can be. And like, when you go in life, sometimes you say, hey, I want to be a firefighter when I grow up. Then you look up, this is a reach, but it's like, I'm the president of the United States now. So it's like, sometimes you set goals, but the goals that, the universe and God have for you is bigger than what you have for yourself.
So with all these great things that have come your way, do you feel any pressure, Chris, to kind of, make sure that you're at the tip top of your game? What's that like for you?
I wouldn't say it's any pressure, but because like you've seen, like I played in pressure situations. There's nothing more pressure than playing in playoff games at PEI. So shooting in front of people, like people see on my page, I might shoot in front of crowds of like 5,000. NBA All-Star last year before COVID happened, I think it was in Chicago. I shot in front of like 8,000 people watching me. But what I do is I just block it out. I don't allow like pressure to build up, because once pressure builds up, you're not going to really perfect your craft. So what I do, I just work on my breathing. I work on clearing my mind. I'm always prepared. If you're prepared for certain situations, you won't fail. So I always take the time to try to get up shots and stuff of that nature. So when I shoot in front of groups, or I shoot in front of kids, or I'm at hooping with friends, I'm showing them why I'm considered to be lethal shooter and stuff like that. People say, oh, you don't miss. I miss all the time, but I make more than I miss. So, I have to keep that standard for right now.
And Chris, you shoot from everywhere. I mean, I've seen you shoot off boats. I've seen you shoot.
Yeah.
Man, come on. Do people call you and challenge you, say it's not real? What's that?
Yeah.
If you're online, they'll do that, right? They'll come at you.
Yeah. People come at me, your videos are edited. It's fake. It's rigged. And it's like, but that's the good thing about life. If you post a video and people are saying, oh, that's an edit, we can see the edit right there. Like, that means you're doing something right. You know what I mean? And my crate video, everybody thought that was fake. They was like, you can see it in the air, it disappears, it comes down. It's just like, I really don't have any time to do those type of edit skills. I actually do this in real life. But, that's the good thing about social media. Sometimes the negative engagement helps the post do better.
No, I hear you, man. Like I said,
yeah.
I saw some of those. I'm like, man, and for me, that's not, and I guess because I know you and I've seen you in action, I'm not even thinking this is real. I'm like, yo, do this thing. He's doing it again, right? So it's certainly kind of nice. I'm talking about the Team Jordan experience, what that's been like, because that's, again, one of these blessings that have come your way. We'll talk about how that kind of came about and, what you're doing with it right now.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to, be helping Team Jordan and Nike basketball and just helping the game of basketball. And somebody that didn't make it to the NBA, somebody that's not on that huge platform, it's a blessing to have the best brand in the world support me in a way that they believe in me. You know what I mean? Just last week, there was a youth basketball team that needed shoes, so we supplied them with shoes. There's different things that they're doing in the community. And I'm doing it all through Jordan Brand. And it's just a blessing. Like people like you can understand where I came from. Like you saw, like we might ride a bus from Halifax all the way to, I don't know, Ontario. So people, you know what I've really been through in life. So, to have these type of moments, I'm not satisfied. It's more work to be done. You know what I mean? Because it's not about me. And what you already see about my page, when I do everything on my page is to help others, to help youth, to help other men and women to understand, never give up. So to have brands like this believe in me, it's just a blessing from God, man, because my whole life, I always wanted these type of moments.
And I love the way that you're giving back, Chris. I've seen you, talking to young people, talking about their goal, talking about, reaching their goals, dreaming, going after, hard work, quitting. Oftentimes people think these are just sort of catchphrases or corny lines or whatever, but there's real meaning behind this, and you're living proof of that.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you understand it because you know me. So a lot of people don't really know my story yet because I put out little spoon feeds of it. You know what I mean? So when you probably see stuff, people like, oh, you can't shoot in a real game. And you're like, shoot, this guy scored 30 points and a half before. I seen him do it with my own eyes. So it's just like, I think slowly I'll start letting people know that my real failures in life. And I put it out there, I might be on the news or something. And I let people know I failed more than I've won, but the times that I've won is just shown a little bit more. And that's why I put out more failure as well. So felt like we said before, like everybody's going to fail, but what are you going to do after you fail? Are you going to lay on your back or are you going to get up? And the one thing you can see from me, even in NBL, I got poked in the eye. I was blind. I got hurt, which people don't even know about. Like every team, I basically got hurt in NBL Canada, but I didn't give up, and those type of moments define me and who I am. And that's why when I speak to anybody, I don't care what you're going through in life, man. Like the lows of lows, I've been there. I've been no money in my bank account. I've been homeless. I've been doing certain things I shouldn't have been doing to try to make it. And that's the human nature. All of us are going to go through hard times. But 9 times out of 10, the people who don't quit, they always win in life. You know what I mean? And it's not always about the big house or the Ferrari or having $100 million. This is about having happiness. And I think that's the way you win in life.
Absolutely. Chris, it's, the one thing we talk a lot on this program about the whole idea of it's living an audacious life, but really about living bold and, doing those things, taking those risks or taking those chances, because what they do, this is twofold. You have the opportunity to benefit, but then you can motivate and inspire those around you, right?
Right.
You'll have the opportunity to say, look, I did this, I took this chance, it was possible, and there's no reason that you can't either.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think, 9 times out of 10, when people say, oh, that's corny. He's just saying that to say that, that means they don't know me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't know me, the person. This isn't, and this isn't saying that somebody that was raised in money can't speak motivation, but I come from it. You know what I mean? I come from nothing. So, every time I talk to somebody, it's about, I'm literally speaking to you on what I've been through. And that's why when I do camps and stuff, I get very emotional because I remember when I was staring at that mentor speaking to me. And honestly, I wasn't even listening. I'm like, man, shut up. I'm trying to shoot. I'm trying to play. And now I'm that person like, hey, pay attention, man. If you don't listen now, you're not going to listen later. So, it's just a definition of who I am. And I'm never going to stop, man. It's God's purpose for me to give back.
The wisdom of life, that's what I'm hearing from you, man.
Right.
All growing up, man.
Right.
so Chris, what's next for you, man? What do you got? Like you're just knocking off all these goals one at a time. What's next for you?
Yeah, just doing small things. We just started a documentary process. Kids book, a book coming out. My app's almost done. An invention. It's different things coming out to just help others in life. Because like I said before, it's time for people to hear my real story, my trials and tribulation. It's time for me to give everybody I have with the art of shooting. I'm gonna basically give out every single thing on my app and with the art of shooting, like when I teach my NBA guys. So like on my platform, people just see me pass the ball up to the person, hey, focus, blah, blah, blah. But it's not the what is it? The formula. So now I'm going to put the formula out in the app so everybody can just, shoot the basketball the way I shot the basketball and can shoot the basketball to this day. Because the one thing you see, especially, you dealing with pro teams and stuff like that, and the NBA, WNBA, and EuroLeague, shooting right now is the best thing. And if you have a jump shot, you're going to play on a team for a long time. So I want to make sure I start giving everybody as much as I can with the art of shooting. So that's what's next, man. Just giving more and more to the people.
I love it. Chris, I got to tell you, look, like I said before, when I started this podcast, you absolutely were one of the people I had in mind as I had to reach out to because I again, familiar with your story, watched you and go, oh my goodness, this guy killing. Like, I'm turning on NBA TV and he's there. I'm looking at this NBA star. He's working out with Chris Brown. He's there. Like one thing after the next. And so I'm really, really, truly, really proud to see what you've become and knowing that there's so much more for you to do, man. So I want to congratulate you. Thank you for taking the time and talking like this, man. I really appreciate it. And just keep up the good work, man.
Man, thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate you for always being positive vibes, man. I remember back in the day when I was playing in Canada, you always had a smile on your face. You was always good energy, and I just appreciate you for being yourself. And you keep changing the world as well, man, because that energy is contagious, brother.
Man, I appreciate you. I'll do my part as long as you keep doing yours.
All right, I will, man. Talk soon.
All right. Take care, Chris. Shout out to Lethal Shooter team as well. You got a great team around you doing good stuff and helping you continue, moving your purpose along. So shout out to her behind you.
Shout out to Rebecca, man. She does a great job.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Be well.
All right.
Back we are here on the podcast, and I got to give a big shout out to the Lethal Shooter. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on the podcast. I'm so proud of Chris for what he's done, not only for himself, but for his family. And I'm super excited to see where he ends up, man. Sky's the limit for this guy. And again, he did this all really by betting on himself. I want to touch on one of the points that Chris raised, and I think is an important one. He made several really good points, but I want to zero in on one. He talked about getting support from a friend before he actually made his decision. And isn't that always the case? It's the people around us, our family, our friends, our loved ones. They're the ones who oftentimes recognize the greatness and sees the potential inside of us long before we do ourselves. So the moral of the story, listen to the people around you because they know. They definitely do. Hey, listen, if you haven't registered for email notifications of the podcast, you can do so by heading over to my site at bestaudaciouslife.com, entering in your email address, and you'll be alerted every time there's new content that comes out. And it's a quick and easy way, again, to stay connected. Thanks as always to our incredible listeners. Your tremendous support and your tremendous ongoing support is absolutely amazing, and it's appreciated as always. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.